They locked me in there and then TP'd 8 SCPs onto me.
You can do that.
Oh, people are spamming.
You can go do that. How about you do that?
Good luck.
Hello, and welcome back everybody to a new upload. I would just like to begin by saying thank you so much for 1 million subscribers. It really means a lot to me as a content creator, as an album critic, and a god SCP juker. Our road together started back in 2016, and I would just like to say thank you and enjoy this album review. Today's video will be a little different than the previous videos, as instead of playing SCP Secret Laboratory, I will be playing SCP Secret Laboratory. Welcome to Lemon's Temple by Lemon's Temple. Let's get right into it. I'm going to start this off by saying this album is appalling as the hit track TAZER by Lemon's Temple. This album through and through will always be a masterpiece and appalling. It appalls me at how generously miserable I felt while listening to this album. That misery, though, was filled with appallment. It's truly a blessing given to us by God that this epic album exists. Let's start off with the cover. Taking a first look at it, I would say the way and format that this was edited is truly astonishing and blew me away. The feeling I get when staring into the mouth of the famous LT member, Lachlan, in the top right corner is way too sexy, and definitely appalling. Fun fact, the part of his mouth with the mouth filled with mints is actually the cover of the famous Lemon's Temple single, Bazil diss track, so that's pretty OP and cracked, I guess. I have a feeling that whoever shot these pictures is incredibly handsome, that being of the famous LT member, Tomas, also included on the cover in the bottom right corner. The font of the album, being Arial, usually wouldn't work on an album cover, mainly because it's a really basic font. But on this cover, it works so well with what's going on in the picture. You can tell the album is going to be very unique and definitely filled with a lot of hype music because of how ecstatic everybody on the cover is. Now, let's get into the tracks off of this OP album. Real quick, I will be going through each song in the order it is displayed on the album. And just before we start off, this video is structured to where before I review each track, the viewer is expected to listen to the track, and then I can explain the lyrics, Easter eggs, Slippi references, and more. The album will be linked in the description as well as their official website. I highly recommend it, and you are sexy if you do so. Alright, so the first track on the album is the intro skit, so let's go over it. Let me start off by saying that this is one of the most unique intro skits I have ever come across to. Many intro skits are random and out of place, but this intro skit is incredibly appalling and chonky, and I'm repulsed at how I did not enjoy this amazing skit in a goddamn jacuzzi, because if I had the chance to, I would relive my first time listening to this masterpiece in the best setting possible. I think what makes this so good is how the founder and producer, O'Connor, somehow got his dad in the studio and was willing to say even the rowdiest stuff. He's a great voice actor, and the combination of his voice, the satisfying Minecraft-like walking sounds, and crinkling of his map is an easy view into his future as being an ASMR artist. I can't wait to listen to his sounds of Culver's mukbang and book tapping. A lot of you might find that weird, but honestly, dude, that makes me excited. Not because of the mukbang, but because of this beautiful skit convincing me that Lemon's Temple can do anything. The next track on this list is called Welcome to Lemon's Temple. Right off the bat, we have an amazing transition from the intro right into the actual song. It took me a minute to realize that the next song was playing, and that it still wasn't a part of the intro skit. One of the best transitions I've ever witnessed with my own 2 ears, and there's a lot more of these appalling transitions throughout the album. The first lyric I will go over is this one. The singers say, "Welcome to Lemon's Temple," 3 times, then they say, "Please enjoy your stay at Lemon's Temple." This is insinuating that Lemon's Temple is actually a real temple, and that this album is basically a really nice, sour welcome into the world of Lemon's Temple. The next line is, "I'm like Ice Mountain, you're like Fiji." This is already showing some of the hilarious humor this album produces. This lyric is a self-diss on himself, Fiji being a fancy, more expensive water, while Ice Mountain being a cheaper, not as acidic water. Next line, I could kill Connor if I fed him some Reese's. This is revealing to the listener that Connor has a peanut allergy and that at this point it's a personality trait. The line, and his toes look like the fingers on E.T., is also a personality trait of his, revealing to the audience that nobody wants to be his friend and that he should stop producing music. Just a joke, I'm going to get so mad if people in the comments get mad. The next two lines are interesting because it follows a really popular trend throughout the album, which reveals how personal it really is. In fact, I'm not just going to say the next two, I'm going to show you just how many times they reference people in just this song. I'm going to start listing them now. Ari laughs at my jokes even though they're not funny. Mr. Me and Ryan and Matt and Joba, how we're always hugging. Cousin Herbie out there loving all the cows there. Yeehaw. Beep, who I despise, yeah, beep. Yeah, I hit then bye. I am beep, stepdad watching beep, be sad. Dan greets me like Shishi, hands me some feces. Zev is superior when compared to Jolie. I just listed about 6 full lyrics where they reference somebody they actually know in real life, and are not famous like the Kanye reference or Weezer reference. What makes it even more personal is the lines where I had to do a bleeped out sound because they weren't allowed to use their names on the song. They just straight up verbally assault some of these people. Like, this album is more than entertainment. It's a statement and realization of people's actions and hatred towards each other. The last line I'll go over is this one. It's Lemon's Temple. It's a place you will remember. From January to December, you will always be a member. This is just a guess, but I think what they mean by you will always be a member is that you will, forever, be a constituent. This is a great beginning song to the album, and definitely is, as the title says, a warm welcome to Lemon's Temple. The next track is called That's the Outcome. This one is one of my personal favorites, mainly because of the angelic chorus that this track presents. Let's start with the lyrics. We start off with a very sexy, handsome young man spitting bars, about 8 bars to be exact. The first 3 lines of his verse are just random joke funny stuff until he gets to this line. Beep, said the N-word, bout to take a screenie. The beep is obviously another person that Lemon's Temple has dissed on, and that Lemon's Temple doesn't mess with racist losers. To further imply this, the artist that's singing says, bout to take a screenie and, man, I just exposed him. The next line goes as follows. Bout to get on DVD, match your boy, I'll roast him. He wants to get rank 1 killer, man, I'll coach him. Lemon's Temple references video games a lot throughout the album, including DVD, which stands for Dead by Daylight, an asymmetrical multiplayer horror game. The next line I go over is when the rapper, Tiernan, says, teacher spoke, I understood, you know my grades are really good. Kappa. This is implying that Tiernan's grades are bad. Next line is, always tell the truth, never lie, like Leffen, I am Rye. This is the next large line. Leffen is a famous Super Smash Bros. Melee player for those who don't know. Next line is, gonna spend $1 million bands on Save the Trees. This is in reference to Mr. Beast's Save the Trees Act, in where for every dollar donated, they would plant a tree. Gigi's juice in my cup the waitress had to top off. Gigi is Connor's grandma, and a true inspiration to Lemon's Temple. Next line, if you get bullied in COD VC, don't turn the sound on. COD stands for Call of Duty, and it's generally well known about how toxic Call of Duty lobbies can be. I don't play Call of Duty, mainly because you can't juke SCPs! Woo! But that's not what we're talking about right now. Minecraft has a square, not a round, son. Minecraft is a very famous game in which everything, or almost everything, is made up of squares. The next line is, stabbing all these kids like it's Legion, and they say this very aggressively, many times. Stabbing all these kids like his legion is in reference to a killer you can buy in Dead by Daylight, the horror video game referenced earlier. This character, or group of characters, are called the Legion, and their power is that they can run really fast and stab the survivors. Next line goes, Midwest bro, on Slippi, that's my region. Slippi is a system in which you could play Super Smash Bros. Melee, but multiplayer, and you can also save clips on your gameplay. It includes a lot of things, and I highly recommend it. You get it if you're a fan of Melee. Right before it gets to the next track, it sets itself up for another appalling transition. The fourth track on the album is called I Miss Tajin. The transition into I Miss Tajin doesn't fit exactly as it should be. Assuming you guys just listened to the track, you would know that the song itself is obviously I Miss the Rage, but Connor himself voices out the beat, and instead of I Miss the Rage, it's I Miss Tajin. The reason I bring this up is because when I looked into it, the original I Miss Tajin used the I Miss the Rage beat exactly, and it fit the transition perfectly. Regardless, it's hilarious as it is, and definitely was a great idea to get around copyright problems. The song itself is pretty simple. I don't need to go through the lyrics, just that what the song reveals is that Alex really likes Tajin. I saw a fanfiction online about how Alex has an addiction to Tajin and that Lemon's Temple took away his Tajin, hence the song creation. I thought it was very interesting myself. Anyway, the song is a nice short piece and it fits swimmingly into the album and into the lore of the Lemon's Temple universe. The next song is Life's Hard, Here's a Song About Chicken. This song is like those songs that are constantly switching up the tone and beat, but this one feels right. It's a mess compacted together, creating a ball of Fiji water. It's fancy garbage that when you pour Fiji on it, it becomes an appallment. Let's get through this track. Alright, so the first lyric goes, made it so messy had to call up the squire. The squire is actually Alex's mom. Next line is, I just four-stock someone with Sheik. This is in reference to Super Smash Bros., in which four-stocking someone is when you beat them in a round, and Sheik is a character within the game. COVID was created at Hidden Creek. So I try to find out if this Hidden Creek is real, and it is. Hidden Creek is an aquapark that started opening back up about a year ago or so, and I guess the fact that there's so many people compact together at the pool, it can get pretty gross, and it makes sense why the lyric was created. Next line, go to Jewel Osco, buy some chicken. This is also a real food store that I personally have shopped at. Next lyric, revving up my chainsaw, I am hickin'. This is in reference to things like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, in which a killer who lives in the countryside and is also rather unintelligent wields a chainsaw. This is also in reference to the Dead by Daylight killer, Hillbilly. Hick just means a person who lives in the country and is regarded as being unintelligent. Next lyric is, I hate Brits, I get bits, my girl into death grips. Caller Ritz Kashia Cracker, Joe Jackson, I'm kidnapper. So there's a lot to unpack here. So let's start off with the first few words. I don't think Annika hates Brits. I mean, you can have your own conspiracy theories, but I don't think she hates Brits. That's just a joke. Death Grips is a popular music group. I personally like how unique they are. And yeah, if you want more info, go search it up yourself. Ritz is a popular cracker brand, and cracker is also a term to refer to white people. The Joe Jackson part is to show how much of a horrible human being he is, and I encourage you to research on him, because I'm not going to get into it because of how serious it is. The next lines and the chorus are, beat those kids like Joe Jackson, love those kids like Michael Jackson. Again, if you're interested, search up on Michael Jackson and Joe Jackson. The next lines are, pulled up 2-5 guys, think I'm about to die, I just ate one of their french fries, there was a nut inside. Five Guys basically only uses peanut oil, and we all know Connor's main personality trait is his peanut allergy. So that's the line's purpose. Next lyric, Baddock's song called Hope. I'm gonna say it again because I didn't know what the heck this was saying. Bad X song called Hope. This is referring to XXXTentacion and the song that he made called Hope, which Connor dislikes. This lyric was not made to make fun of XXXTentacion. In fact, he's a big part of his childhood. It's just to show a sense of maturity and that this is a new chapter in his life in which he dislikes Hope by XXXTentacion. Last line I'm going through is, unlike Adrian, they're never clapping. This is a line complimenting Adrian, who is Alex's younger brother. Overall, this song is a banger and incredibly appalling. Right before we get to the next song, I would just like to say that we are now getting into deep territory. Like, so deep my 14-year-old cousin would say it's deep. So deep my aunt would post on Facebook about how deep this section of songs are. Alright, so the next song is called Bazil Diss Track Album Mix. This song was actually released as a single beforehand, just called Bazil Diss Track. This song isn't one of my favorites, but the message behind it is truly beautiful. But first, let's get through the lyrics. First one is, I just hit 3 licks on Bazil, 30 bands. This line is referring to the devious licks trend, in which kids steal stuff from their school. But in this situation, Connor hit 3 licks, meaning he robbed Bazil 3 times and copped himself 30 bands, meaning he stole $30,000 from Bazil. Whew, now that's a lot of money if you ask me. Whew. Next line goes, Bazil says he makes money from caddying. That's just cap, he's capping. Caddying is basically when you work at a golf course and you carry the golfers' bags and pick up the golf balls left throughout the field. Next lyric goes, I've kissed 0 girls. The song interprets this part as if Bazil said this line, but this is just simply not true. Bazil has hella game. The message behind this song is revealed by just how lyrical and message-ridden appallment the song is. It is immediately shown in just the first set of lyrics. Bazil looks dumb, pretty stupid, not smart, doesn't know stuff. He doesn't know anything. These lyrics alone reveal so much about how people will over-exaggerate things just to bash on other human beings. Over-exaggeration is a serious threat on this planet, and it's something that doesn't deserve enough recognition in the music industry. I'm glad Bazil Diss Track is finally touching upon this appalling topic, because if not, who knows where humanity would be at right now in this very moment in time. The next woke lyric is, do you know what I hate about Bazil? He's always just like walking around, he's always just talking, going to school, eating food, breathing. It's like, what are you even doing? He's literally being, like, he's a human being, bozo! This song was made to make you mad. The authors of this fine piece wanted to speak volumes, and they spoke about 7, just like Harry Potter. How does this tie in with Harry Potter? I don't know, but that's what makes this album so good. The listener can interpret every song however they want to interpret it as, just like that fan fiction I talked about earlier. Anyways, continuing with this song, I believe the moral to be that we, referring to human beings in general, will look for the stupidest reasons to hate somebody, like for just how they eat or walk. The message here is way too deep and sexy for me to handle as a currently 15-year-old boy, so let's move on to the next track. And overall, Bazil Diss Track is a pretty good song. The next track is called Glucky Glock. Okay, so I'll be honest, at first I didn't know what the actual this meant. Notice how I said what the actual this means. This means that I'm not lying to you right now, and that I'm being serious. There are a lot of theories online, but I'm just going to say some of my favorites that I found. Dipwits on Reddit said that the song symbolizes the journey that Lemon's Temple had to go through to get this album out, which honestly sounds like a really good honest theory, to be honest. Soup on Discord said, Glucky Glock is actually a proper song, it's just that our minds are way too weak and vile to understand. The last theory I'm going over is from the user Lil Rug Best Fan on 4chan. And his theory is just that Glucky Glock was implemented into the album just to add to the insanity that is Welcomes to Lemon's Temple. I love all three of these theories, and mine for the most part is pretty similar. My theory is that it was added as a sort of way to prepare us, or set us into the right mindset for the rest of the album. Overall, a very interesting piece, and I honestly love all the appalling and astonishing theories people have about it. Honestly. The 8th track on the album is called Lay's, which is an obvious advertisement for the small brand Lay's. I guess Lemon's Temple wanted to help them out a bit and include their brand on the album. This just shows how kind the Lemon's Temple group honestly is, and they are so kind towards their community. Anyways, continuing with what I was saying, this track is called Lay's, which is actually an interpretation of what a fake sad person is like. Based on all the jokes and stereotypes online, this song reveals a deep message about how hurtful stereotypes can be and how it really hurt the people singing this song. The first thing you hear is an amazing transition from Glucky Glock that goes like this. Tiernan says, "Cole?" Then Cole says, "What?" And you hear a gunshot transitioning to Lay's. I love this transition because of how many people thought Tiernan hates Cole and how this goes into the Lemon's Temple lore. This is probably one of the best communities when it comes to fan fiction and theories. Just wait until MatPat reviews TAZER official music video. I can't wait! Anyways, let's get into the lyrics, shall we? The first lyric goes, "I get on gotcha working on another sad thing. Dream is the only one that makes me feel like a king. Why aren't Dream, George and Sapnap dating yet?" Okay, so there's a lot to go over here. Let's start with the first part. Gotcha is an app where you can create your own stories, comics, or characters. Dream is a very famous Minecraft YouTuber, and George and Snapnap are also Minecraft YouTubers. The question is, why aren't they dating yet? This is referring to all the crazy Dream stans who are just shipping these YouTubers together. Next line goes, "I hate my dad. His name is Brad." This is just cap. His actual name is Dan. Next lyric goes, "I saw something. I eat some Lays." This represents the media making fun of these kids, which is another key part into breaking down the message of how stereotypes hurt people. I've seen a lot of kids get bullied because they fit into this stereotype of fake sad. First of all, they're kids. Second of all, nobody has any idea what some of these kids go through. Even though, ironically, the song itself also makes fun of these children. It's done in a way to reveal this deeper message behind it. Overall, a great song that switches up the tone of the album really fast, which is what the gunshot transition symbolizes. This next song is called Mr. Whoever They Are Talking About. Seems to be about a teacher that is generally disliked within Lemon's Temple. This song is another example of how the album gets really personal with specific people in their life. Not much to go over, other than that the singer, Alex, is just verbally assaulting this guy. I love the beat on the song, and it's generally a simple apostrophe banger. This really shows how far Lemon's Temple will go to comma their album, and how they aren't scared of consequences. Next song is called The Greatest Song of 2021. I love this song, mainly because there's just so much to analyze. Let's first explain the backstory to this beautiful piece. The beat is actually altered a ton in this song, but the beat is actually from a Donald Trump ad song on his official channel. I think it's still up. It's called The Greatest Song of 2020. At the end of his song, he says, "I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message." I personally don't like Donald Trump, but the fact that he approved of that song is just hilarious and incredibly ironic given the audience he's targeting in that song. I don't think Lemon's Temple supports Donald Trump. I think the song is just a fat flex on Donald Trump, showing how much better their remix of Donald Trump's song is. It's hilarious because Lemon's Temple doesn't talk about Donald Trump. They just call the song The Greatest Song of 2021 instead of 2020, and change the beat enough to make something new. The way that this song goes from a sick rap with a sick beat all the way to a melodic, hopeful, and spiritual ending is just beautiful. They butchered Donald Trump's beat and made it way better than his song. Let's go over the lyrics. The first one goes, "I'm drippin' like Scottie Pippen, or trippin', or dribblin', or whatever the line is. Scottie Pippen is a famous basketball player, and that's why they say that. Next line is, we with Zachy in the crib, we eatin' good, we eatin' ribs. This line refers to Zach, Bazil's dad. Next line is when Dan says, Connor's dad, of course, says, Galloping Ghosts, Burger King, CTV3, Smooth Jazz, Rest Closed ITAS, US Foods, Candy Crush. Galloping Ghosts is an arcade with a ton of machines. From the last that I can remember, it's the biggest one in the entire US. I'm not sure if that's true anymore, but whatever. Research. CTV3 is a YouTuber, and Candy Crush is a mobile game. All of these things are things Dan enjoys to do. Alright, great song and it's beautiful. This song speaks volumes and it's appalling. The next track on the album is called Slippi Story. Slippi Story is a great transition track from all the hype music to a more relaxing tone. The interlude is inspired by Facebook Story, an interlude on Blonde, an album made by Frank Ocean. The story is explained by Lachlan, and how the story goes is that Lachlan and his girlfriend were playing Slippi, the game I mentioned earlier, and that he altered something in the game, making his girlfriend mad and wanting to break up with him. It's truly appallingly apostrophe sad. I'm sure it must have taken a lot of courage for him to give up his past on the album, and I know Lemon's Temple must be very proud of him, as well as myself. Moments like these is what makes me truly value Lemon's Temple as a music group, and their true impact on the music industry. Again, Lachlan, I'm very proud of you. Help Us Lemon God is the 12th track, starting off with an exclamation point transition from Slippi Story to this song. Now let's go over it. This song reveals a lot about Lemon's Temple lore, as well as revealing yet another deep message. Let's go over the lyrics, then talk about the deeper message. The first lyric goes as follows. I turn to Lemon God, I need to turn to Lemon. I need guidance from our Lord, so I need to turn to Lemon God. This expands the universe of Lemon's Temple, revealing that there is a real Lemon God, somewhere out there in the universe. I knew that Lemon's Temple must worship some kind of god, but the fact that they simply called it Lemon God is so stupid. It's appalling to me how good this album is. Sorry, I got a little carried away. Next line is, Lemon God, can you please give something to love? I need direction. I lost my stepson. This line is important because it shows how they just straight up rely on Lemon God. I think this song is actually a way to reveal the deeper message behind Lemon's Temple. This song is made to help people realize that there's nothing wrong with having somebody to lean on. In fact, it's needed to survive in life. A problem that I had back in the good old 5000 BC was that I felt like I could do no wrong, that I could solve every problem. But in reality, that just isn't true. We rely on each other to live happy as human beings, and there's nothing wrong with that. Next line is, my life is just like Cruelty Squad. I'm a husk without a brain, yeah, I need Lemon God. This line refers to a game where the citizens are all sad husks. Therefore, the line that comes after that, husk without a brain, yeah, I need Lemon God. In many ways, Cruelty Squad is just like Lemon's Temple. A massive mess revealing a deeper message I think everybody needs to hear. Whether you lean on Lemon's Temple or not, Lemon's Temple needs you, the fans, to lean on as well to process and be functional in this world. The last lyric I'll go over is this one, and is arguably the most revealing of all the lyrics in the song. Oh, I'm way down bad for the Lemon God. Before we analyze this, let's find out what the definition of down bad is. The definition of down bad is someone who's down bad. Grr, woof, woof, bark, bark, arf, bark, woof, woof, snarl, snarl, grr, woof, woof, bark, arf, snarl, woof, woof, bark, arf, grr, woof, woof, bark, arf, arf, bark, woof, woof, grr, snarl, snarl, grr, woof, bark, arf, arf, bark, snarl. This plays a huge role into the message behind this song, because being down bad for the Lemon God is an example of when you can't handle controlling yourself anymore. and you need somebody to help you. Somebody has these moments, well, not somebody, but everybody has these moments of pain where they seriously need somebody, and I'm very proud in Lemons Temple for setting an example for the stupid babies. In conclusion to the song, it's a good song. The next song is Vincent's Theory. This one is truly unique, and the person who performs the piano piece and is singing is called Vincent. He is another member of Lemons Temple, and his name is Vincent once again. I found out that the reason he isn't on any other song is because he's too pro for Lemons Temple, and is out there making cracked money instead of making music. And he's too OP for us. This song really speaks commas. Specifically though, it explains a new theory. If you guys are smart and know what the great filter is, then congratulations, you'll understand this next part. I'm only going to go through one lyric, and that one that revealed the most about this hidden theory Vincent stores. The lyrical genius sings be dee ba do ba dee da ba ba da ba da ba da be da ba be da ba ba dee 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 ba ba dee dee do do dee ga gu dee ba. I have a theory that Vincent's theory explains a new way to communicate with aliens. Using words like ba and duh, the waves produced by these words is a whole new wave of quantum physics and is truly a blessing. Lemons Temple saves lives and has created a way to communicate with aliens. Now that's pretty pro, man. What a blessing from Lemon God, and a great piano piece by Vincent. Now, the next song is TAZER, which was also released as a single beforehand. This song is definitely one of the most insane music, and they even have an official music video for it that's just as insane as the song itself and complements it well. There's just so much going on at once. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Oh, I know where to begin, because I wrote this down in the script. We'll begin with the feature. The song features yet another father into the mix, his name being Zach, who is Bazil's dad. They mention a lot of people in this song, and because I already talked about how personal this album gets, and already referenced many lines with redacted names, I'm just going to skip over those. I highly recommend you listen to this and try to figure out how many times they reference somebody, because it's a lot of times. I'll only reference a few lyrics where they call out people privately, and I'll also try to break down the song. Let's start off with this lyric. Lil Rug, yeah, you know I'm on his live. Lil Rug is this massive bigot TikToker, and this song just wanted to give more attention to this idiot for the internet to catch on to what he is doing, and maybe, possibly, hopefully, get him banned. Continuing. Me and T at Ross keep it up, that's a crime. Ross is a store that I suppose Bazil and Tiernan have gone to together. Next line. Bro, I'm getting stacky. Bought that lemon store, I'm making racky. Cop that clean ass Jackie. This is a fat flex. Next lyric. This on Lemon's Temple and I'll break your spine. Also a fat flex. Never falling down, foo, I'm always going up. This a fat flex to BH. I'm the best, can't test me. Apostrophe flex. Next line. Niñote, yeah, you know they wanna be us. This is the part where Zach comes in, and it reveals this subplot of dissing on a rivaling music group that actually does exist, by the way. I searched them up. It's interesting to see that this song is mainly just a flex, and even though it also reveals some little messages, it's very clear to us that we've praised Lemon's Temple enough, and now they're getting a little egotistical. And appalling. I love this because there's just so much going on, constantly, and it's a nice break from all the knowledge Lemon's Temple has thrown at us. The next song is called Too Clean. This song is one of my favorites, and definitely a guaranteed banger. It's just a clean track overall. It took me a while to realize the deeper message behind it, so let's go ahead and analyze these lyrics. We're too clean, walked into Gelt and bought a new kazoo. Gelt is obviously a store, and a kazoo is a cheap little instrument you can pretty much get anywhere. What's interesting about this is that they refer to being clean because they bought a kazoo. Or is it the other way around? This line can mean two things. If they bought a kazoo because they were clean, they are revealing to the audience that just because you fit beauty standards or have a lot of money, it doesn't mean you have to flex on the fans. There's nothing wrong with celebrating your success, but just know that there are many people out there who have way less than you, and disrespecting them just to make yourself feel cool is just plain awful. What makes this hit harder is that Lemon's Temple lives in the US, where capitalism plays a massive part in splitting the rich from the poor. The fact that Lemon's Temple is so woke about this is truly apostrophe, and really is parentheses. If you interpret it the other way around, which is that they bought a kazoo which makes them clean, what LT is showing is that the standards of being successful or being beautiful should be lowered, and that this song is a message to all the people who try hard every day to look good to fit beauty standards. But what they don't realize is that they already look good with just a kazoo in hand. The same can be interpreted in this next line. Walked into Gucci and we bought nothing. This also shows how you don't need to be rich or have Gucci to be clean. You just need to be happy, fit your own standards to be clean, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, or take a shower. The last lyric I'll go over is this one, and it's also incredibly revealing of how this album stays woke. I'm too clean, 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 I am too clean, I'm so clean, I'm too clean. The fact that Lachlan repeated this line so many times, with each time emphasizing that he's clean, reveals to the listener that he might be telling himself he's clean, but he slowly begins to believe he isn't because he listens to the media or people around him who also grew up with insane standards bully him, just like many people today. Overall, an incredibly exclamation point song, and probably one of the most woke yet. The next song on this album is called Romeo and Juliet, and then in parentheses, shortened. I'm really glad Connor put this song on the album. I was actually able to get in touch with Connor specifically about this song, and he explained to me the backstory. So the backstory to this song is that this originally wasn't going to get on the album. The reason for this is because this was actually his 8th grade English class project. He had to summarize and explain Romeo and Juliet, and he decided to put it into a song format. Honestly, this fine piece is beautiful and incredibly well done, and I mean it. It's astonishing how only Connor recorded for this song, of course, since it was his song. I'm not going to go over any of the lyrics, since mainly it's a funny summary of Romeo and Juliet. He does criticize the story a ton throughout the song, revealing to us and showing how this story wouldn't work in today's time, mainly because the story has a ton of plot holes. It takes place throughout 4 days, and they romanticize suicide. I remember when I had to study Romeo and Juliet, and the fact that it's all about fate just isn't realistic. There are times in life when you won't know something will happen, but it's not because of the stars, it's because people make decisions in life. It's a great summary of Romeo and Juliet, while also being funny, beautiful, and a great criticism of the story. I hope he someday releases the extended version of the song, because it's truly a treat that he decided to include this in the album. The second to last and 17th track on this album is called Veggie Burger Remix. So the original Veggie Burger is actually Lemon's Temple's first official release, and it's actually not on the album, but what is on the album is this remix. I would say a big reason why this remix was created was as a sort of an apology, mainly because in the first Veggie Burger they say an offensive joke that, especially given more recent events, definitely doesn't work at all. It's creative how in this sort of reprise of the original Veggie Burger, they added an entire apology paragraph in the song, and they somehow incorporated it into the music. If I'm gonna be honest, this is definitely the weakest song on the album. There's not much story behind it, and it just doesn't sound as good as the others, to be honest. But there is deep meaning. You might think it's just, oh, OMG, Connor hates Veggie Burger. You would be wrong. I'm not going to go through the lyrics, mainly because it's just a bunch of funny lines and voice effects, so let's get on with the essay. Veggie Burger's purpose is to reveal to society and humanity as a whole how much we need to save global warming, save animals, and its current state in today's time. Meat factories, especially the beef industry, causes a ton of smoke and toxic airs to get into the atmosphere every year, and eating meat in general is contributing to its cause. Veggie Burger is a song explaining and interpreting the mindset of most people in today's time. That veggie burgers taste bad, and so we continue to eat meat. Many people are trying to create a world in which animals live free without torture, and people eat healthier, and where the meat industry is abolished, helping out the earth a ton when it comes to global warming. You might ask, Tomas, why do you still eat meat then? Well, thank you for asking, viewer. I still eat meat because there isn't a reliable way to access cheap, tasty veggie burgers everywhere I shop. And meat is still incorporated in many traditions and cultures I participate in throughout the year. Many people bash vegans because of their reputation, mainly given to them by that vegan teacher, a toxic influencer that forces veganism on other people and relates veganism to incredibly dark topics. There's a ton of videos on YouTube following this trend of raiding vegan Discord servers or bashing on vegans, when they are the leading cause of activism to really help save this planet. This song overall was okay. I wouldn't sauce or spam loop on my Spotify playlist though. The last track on this masterpiece is the outro skit. This outro skit really ties the whole thing together and reveals the story behind the album, and it even features Connor's mother, so let's go over it. The outro starts off with a bunch of random ASMR sounds done by Lemon's Temple, which you can assume is the album songs all compiled together. You can also tell Dan is really enjoying his time listening to the album, so much in fact that he says, "I'm in," implying that he's joining Lemon's Temple. Everybody celebrates this with beautiful sounds as I savor every memory I have with this amazing album. It then ends with Connor's mom saying, "What a nice group of young foos." What a great outro. It definitely makes me remember of back in the good old Cretaceous era when I baked lemon cakes with my mother. This album has a nostalgic value to it somehow, but I can't put my finger on why or how. It's this feeling inside of me that makes me want to explore this even further. Now that I know the story of this album, I'll tell you it right now. The intro starts off with Dan holding a map trying to find the facility and where they are hosting an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. But then, the meeting just happens to be on 123 Lemon Street, where Lemon's Temple lives. So, Lemon's Temple tries to convince Dan to join by playing music for him. Then, the entire album plays. Afterwards, Dan is appalled and astounded at how amazing that was, so he joins Lemon's Temple. You can have your own theories on this, but I think this is a great story, and an amazing album. I give this masterpiece an 11 out of 10. Thank you, Lemon's Temple, for making such a blessing of an album, and I hope Lemon's Temple blossoms to fame. So, I originally wasn't planning to make this video. In fact, all I wanted to do was enjoy watching a nice, formal, quantum, analytical analysis video on Lemon Temple's album. But the only formal reviews I found were these.
This album is spectacularly superb.
Yo, this album is cream as fuck, on God.
This album is dreamy, bro. This album is serene as fuck, bro. You don't even know, bro. That's on God, on Dan, on Hottie. That's on Win Davis, on God. That's on My Life. That's on Up There, man. This album is serene. This album is great, man. I love Lemon's Temple. Man, we better than Kanye. We better than Kendrick. We better than Drake.
Welcome to Lemon's Temple, greasiest thing of 2021.
Hey, I would just like to say that this album is probably the most rancid and disgusting album I've ever heard in my entire life. It made me want to die listening to it, and I hate it so much. It was absolutely awful, and that's why it's definitely the best album of all time. Thank you. This is a follow-up to the last video. I would like to say that I take everything back. It's actually a shit album, and I hate it. Yeah, that's about it.
To Lemon's Temple is the best album ever made.
Yeah, so you understand now why I had to take matters into my own hands, right? And make this passion-driven, appalling, analytical album analysis. I had a lot of fun making this, regardless of the lack of videos on the matter, and it was great having to spend months of my life trying to find info on this album. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe if you want to. And if you didn't like this video, make sure to hit that fat dislike button below to let me know to do better next time. And other than that, have a great day. It will be better if you listen to Lemon's Temple album.